Hey, you guys, welcome back. It's Liv. Thank you for joining. Today, we're discussing the high profile case making headlines across multiple media outlets, the immigration status of a public school superintendent. Now, the residents in Des Moines, Iowa, are in shock after learning that their superintendent, Dr. Ian Andre Roberts, was arrested by ICE enforcement officers for deportation. Now, Roberts is an illegal immigrant who did not have authorization to work in the United States. Now, for some background on this story, Ian Roberts, the superintendent in Des Moines Public Schools, was hired in July of 2023 to lead Iowa's largest school district. He is originally from Guyana. According to ICE, this was not a random arrest. Agents say they carried out a targeted enforcement operation, and Roberts already had a final order of removal that was issued back in May of 2024. Despite that, he continued working in the district without legal authorization to be employed in the United States. Here is a clip of Congressman Zach Nunn confirming that he was aware of his final deportation order.
Following breaking news, the arrest of Dr. Ian Roberts by immigration officials on Friday has created turmoil within the Des Moines Public School District. We continue to work to find as many answers to as many questions as possible.
That's right. And we are joined now by Congressman Zach Nunn. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate this. What has your office learned about Dr. Roberts' work status and his immigration status?
Well, Stacey, as soon as we found out about this, we immediately pushed our federal partners to be as transparent as possible. And I think that is important for every Iowan to know, particularly in the Roberts case, because it is so high profile, exactly what was happening and when did that occur. I want to begin by saying I think that law enforcement handled this absolutely correct based on the information we've been able to review. I first reached out to both Homeland Security, to ICE, and to the Department of Justice. And what we've discovered today through a FOIA act, which I found would take several days, we made a direct appeal to the DOJ to be able to provide us information. That's the document that I've shared with you today, and it is a factual statement that it is a final removal order that was issued to Ian Roberts on May 2024 after he failed to appear for his immigration hearing. It was issued by an immigration court, and it said at that point it found him removable and that he was ordered to be deported to Guyana. This is a final order, and I want to be clear here. This is something he would have known about as early as May 2024 and well before.
When agents moved in to detain him, ICE reports that Roberts actually tried to flee before he was caught. At the time of his arrest, they say he was carrying a loaded handgun, a fixed blade hunting knife, and about $3,000 in cash. Here is a clip of Jeff Paul's report.
Yeah, strange story, Dana. And the head of Iowa's largest school district is now being placed on paid administrative leave. He's currently being held at a nearby county jail, all while parents and teachers right here in Des Moines try to figure out what exactly happened and what's next. Now, ICE tells Fox News it was on Friday when they arrested and detained Dr. Ian Roberts, superintendent for Des Moines Public Schools. They say he's an illegal immigrant from Guyana who was given a final order of removal in May of 2024. When federal agents tried to take Roberts into custody on a fugitive warrant last week, they claim he initially sped away. After finding his abandoned district-owned vehicle, authorities later found Roberts in a wooded area. DHS says they found a handgun, a knife, and $3,000 in cash inside his vehicle. School board chair Jackie Norris says they weren't aware of any final removal warnings for Roberts and says they still do not have all.
Many Americans are outraged after hearing reports that Robert is an illegal immigrant on paid leave while in jail, and he tried to flee from officers in a district-owned vehicle. These privileges, from the paycheck to the car, are funded by taxpayers. So I want to ask you, do you think he should still be getting paid while on leave? Here is a clip from the school board chair.
I want to be clear, no one here was aware of any citizenship or immigration issues that Dr. Roberts may have been facing. The accusations ICE has made against Dr. Roberts are very serious, and we are taking them very seriously.
Now, the school board chair has said that they were not aware of Robert's immigration status, but many Americans find that hard to believe because the board is responsible for approving the very I-9 employment eligibility form that every employee must complete. Iowans are confused about how he was even hired. Here is Congressman Nunn talking about the I-9 form.
I think there's a lot of questions, obviously, about all of this. Why, if it was issued a year ago, was the school district not informed before his arrest on Friday?
I think this is a bigger conversation we need to now have. I've tried to make sure we have the source document so that we can begin having transparency. I need the school district to do the same. And here's the reality. The I-9, the document required for citizenship to be able to work at the Des Moines Public Schools, is approved by the Des Moines Public Schools. And they can go through a search firm, but ultimately it's their responsibility. Going forward, I think that we need to make...
Here's how it works. The employee fills out Section 1 with their personal information and attests to their work authorization status. Now, the employer or an authorized representative is then required to review original identity and work authorization documents like a passport, green card, or social security card and complete Section 2. The employer must sign and certify that the documents appear genuine and that the person is authorized to work. When serious matters like this happen, no one wants to take accountability. And that's when typically the finger pointing starts. This is why I say that. The school board itself usually don't process I-9 form. That's handled by the district's HR or administrative staff. However, the school board is ultimately responsible for hiring and oversight. They approve contracts for top positions like superintendent. So when the board says they were not aware of Dr. Roberts' immigration status, many Americans question that, like, why? Because by law, the district, as the employer, had to complete and verify his I-9 at the time of hire. That means someone in the district signed off that his documents were acceptable. The board may not have personally reviewed the paperwork, but they are accountable for ensuring proper procedures were followed. According to the Associated Press, Roberts entered into the United States on a student visa back in 1989. The visa being discussed is the F1 student visa, which is specifically designated for full-time academic study in the United States. At this time, there are not any documents or statements confirming that he had employment authorization. Robert's license were revoked, and a letter was sent to schools stating that he was ineligible to hold one. This raised serious questions about whether he ever had a valid license to be recognized as a doctor of education. I believe the record should be made public, particularly regarding what authorization he presented for employment, because it seems likely that documents were either fraudulent and are overlooked by those responsible for verifying their authenticity. Here is Jennifer Corrin, a mother from Des Moines Public Schools, weighing in.
Track and field, bizarre stuff here. You've had some situations with the school board at a minimum. What do you think of this?
Right. I guess shocked, but not shocked. I've had a few dealings with the school board in probably the last 6 months or so, where concerns have been dismissed. And to say that those were probably some red flags that they should have addressed then. I think at the minimum, they should have taken my concerns seriously.
Wow. Okay, so here's the school board chair in Des Moines. Mm-hmm. All right, she's calling for what's called radical empathy in his case. Watch.
Right, yeah.
It seems fitting to take a page out of Dr. Roberts' book and ask the community to engage in radical empathy as we work through this situation together. Radical empathy is the recognition that we can disagree and still empathize with each other. The respect of others' humanity. This concept will be essential as we wait to learn more.
He was given an order to deport in 2024, May of that year. What do you think of
Right.
this call just to wave the white flag and call this off?
When she said radical empathy to open her press conference on Friday, where she didn't take any questions, my jaw dropped because right now what we need is radical honesty, radical transparency, and radical accountability. These are our kids we're talking about. This isn't, any job. This is the superintendent, which oversees our entire school district. So their words ring hollow to me.
Okay.
I think that they need to make sure that they're looking out for the best interest and the safety of our kids, and I don't see that happening, and that's something that I've brought to their attention previously.
Okay,
So,
well, let me just squeeze in one more thing. Jonathan Turley, we were live.
As we just heard from the mother, she's not buying the school board's messaging about handling this as a serious matter. She's pointing out that when she voiced concerns in the past, they were dismissed. So she's not surprised by the response now. The school board chair, Jackie Morris, is calling for radical empathy, as Dr. Roberts has suggested in his book. But the mom challenges that notion by basically saying we need radical honesty, transparency, and accountability. So I want to ask you, do you agree with her, or do you think she's lacking radical empathy? And more importantly, whose side are they on? These are our children we're talking about. Yet the way this situation is being handled feels more like a soundbite than true accountability. Are they really prioritizing the students and taxpayers, or just covering themselves while pretending to take this seriously? Jennifer Corrin said her mother instincts told her something was off, even though everyone else described him as a good guy. Red flags kept coming up because something just didn't seem right. Here's a clip.
The question is how the federal government will respond to these multiple school districts hiring Roberts. It is unlawful to hire someone with an illegal status under immigration laws. I mentioned Erie, Pennsylvania, and now Des Moines, Iowa. Some are saying that by most accounts, he was a good guy and cared for the kids. What would you say to them?
I will say that he was very charismatic. I will give you that. There were a lot of people who felt that way. And I did at the beginning as well. That my mom radar quickly went up in, I guess, the fall of 2023. So a few months after he started, when he recommended and the district approved this idea of lifting the prohibition on not hiring people with criminal backgrounds. So we had that going for us. And then just throughout the course of the last couple of years, there's been a lot of things that have caused me pause, caused red flags to go up in my mom's head. And I wasn't privy to any of the documentation or anything that he may have provided during his interviewing and hiring process. But if anything, I'm finding just as a mom detective online in the last couple of days, it indicates there were a lot of red flags that were missed. So when the school district's board chair goes on TV and says, no, there were no red flags, I find that hard to believe.
Okay, so we'll see what happens next. A bizarre story. Don't know if I've heard of one like this.
Good for her. I'm grateful she is using her voice to spread this message, because many parents across the United States are witnessing the decline of our public school district. What really stood out to me is when she mentioned that Ian Roberts recommended lifting the prohibition on hiring individuals with criminal backgrounds, and it was actually approved. That's both alarming and extremely dangerous. We see people protecting criminals and protesting for the release of known offenders, even when those individuals break the law, attack, and harm our law enforcement officers who are simply trying to keep us safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I truly believe we must come together as Americans to protect not only our country, but our children. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.